It has become quite clear, at least to me, that Monday Night Raw is not planned out in the long term. We are witnessing a show that is being booked week to week with no direction. And we are here today to talk about that at the SledgeHammer Wrestling Show. I'm Nick Nightmare. Thank you for joining us. Let's get it started. Holy Christ. What the hell did I just witness? Why did I put myself through this? I don't understand it anymore. I say this all the time, I guess now. I just don't understand why I'm still watching this. Do you realize what is happening? Because I think I'm starting to get a clear picture of what the hell's happening on Monday Night Raw, which came to us live from Cincinnati, Ohio. And if I'm being honest, I am so underwhelmed that I almost don't even want to do this review. Like, what the hell is there to talk about that we didn't talk about in yesterday's review of the Clash of the Champions? Because it was almost the same exact show. And we have no reason to anticipate next week's show outside of the two matches that they announced for next week's show. One of the two being completely illogical and irrelevant and being rushed into. And that's the women's title match. And we're going to get into that later. But we're going to start off where Raw started off, which was absolutely terrible. Raw opens up and gives us a United States Championship match between Roman Reigns and Rusev. Again. Now, this match, only to me, makes me realize that the WWE seems to be doing everything backwards. Everything is backwards. This interaction that took place tonight, where they wrestled for 35 minutes. 35 minutes of my life were invested in a match that I have seen 6 times in this last, month and a half. This should have been the way this whole thing kicked off. And then subsequently, if you look at all these matches we've been subjected to and you go backwards with them, it makes sense. Everything in the reverse order is the way this whole angle should have been booked. With Sunday night at the Clash of Champions should have been the blow-off. Roman Reigns should have won, taken the strap like he did, and then the next night on Raw should be moving on to his next opponent. He has done everything he can do with Rusev. Their styles are too much alike. There's only so much they're going to be able to do in the ring. We pretty much seen everything this match has to offer us already. It's an epic, epic failure of grand proportions, and it was nothing more than a sleeping aid. Because I was 20 minutes into this, I was already checked out of Monday Night Raw. I was checked the fuck out. I was no longer interested in the show. Just out of this one match, I knew the rest was going to be a failure. I spent most of this match talking with friends on the phone, texting with friends of mine about how terrible what we're seeing is. I was checking the Twitter boards to see what everybody was saying, because that was far more interesting to me than having to watch this again. It was a very, very bad start to the show.
Boring.
I fucking hated it. And I'm so done with it. And being that they wrestled as long as they did and still had no clear conclusion, and we had a double count out, are you kidding me? Come on, is this a joke? Because it's not funny anymore. And it's ruining everything. I'm not going to be always complaining about a 35-minute match, because as you know from listening, I'm complaining always that they're talking too much and we don't get enough wrestling. And here I am complaining about the wrestling because they're not giving us the matches we want to see. They're giving us matches that we've seen over and over and over again, phoning in this show, and it's just a complete waste of time. Once again, just after the Clash of Champions, nothing has progressed further. Nothing has happened in this match or in any of the matches to follow. So we had a double count out here. complete waste of time that we're not going to get back. And it was just horrendous. This was followed by more authority stuff. We had Mick Foley in the ring, and he wanted to address the Cesaro-Sheamus situation. And there were rumors floating around on the internet that I hadn't addressed on the show that ended up coming to fruition. And turns out that they don't want to have a loser to this series because they realized that it was going to do so much damage to Sheamus. That's my opinion. They figured it out. They're like, hey, you know what? If we give Cesaro this win, Sheamus is a garbage bag, and we might as well just throw him in the trash because nobody's going to care. I still think that match was maybe planned to end the way it did now with the way they're going. They're not this creative, and if the rumors are true, they had this tag team thing planned, as Mick Foley announces that he will be granting them their championship opportunity, but it's going to be for the tag team championships, and they're going to have to work together, as Mick Foley doesn't want to see either one of them lose. Now, what the hell is he talking about? I don't understand it. What kind of dumb shit is this?
Dummy, yeah.
That's all I can think about while this whole segment is going on. Is these are a bunch of dummies here running this show. Who are the clowns that are writing this crap? Why would we watch these two guys beat the shit out of each other for the last 8 weeks? And then now they're going to be a team. There's no way the chemistry could work. This is last minute booking all over. It's got it written all over it. Last minute. Oh, well, we don't want to do this now, so let's flip the script and go this way. Oh, and by doing this, we're going to end up burying Gallows and Anderson. Once again, this whole thing and everything they're doing just comes off as backwards. Because this is the way the feud should have began. They should have been put into a goddamn tag team, then have it not work, have them do the standard tag team feud, and end it with this series, and it should have been blown off with a winner at Clash of Champions. They're not letting anything end. And by not letting things end, we're not going to have any new things begin. But we're going to obviously see Sheamus and Cesaro in the ring now constantly still. When now was the time to blow them apart and let them go their own directions, and instead they put them together on this common direction, which there's no way it's going to end well. Watch them be the ones to beat the New Day. Holy cow. Because tonight, the New Day comes out in the midst of this announcement for their match. Right in the middle of the segment, they decide, okay, well, let's bring out the next match. I didn't understand that either. It doesn't come off well. But for some reason, Gallows and Anderson are getting a rematch, and it's going to be the night after. And my hopes were high that, all right, they're going to fix this. We're at day number 400 on the New Day's title reign, and Gallows and Anderson are going to win tonight. They're going to take the straps, and they're going to do what I hope they're going to do and make them matter again. Start smashing people's faces. But that's not what happened here. The WWE have continued their track record of tanking with stars that have been established outside the company. If I were Gallows and Anderson, I would be in that office right now asking to be released. Because you brought us in, and what did you do? You jobbed us out. You jobbed us out to the New Day. We should be the champions right now. You wanted a tag team revolution. You brought in the best tag team in the world right now. Gallows and Anderson. Winning belts, breaking necks, cashing checks all over the world. And you bring them in here and you make them look like a joke. I'm starting to believe the only reason they brought them in at all was to reel in AJ Styles and ink him in for good. But what damage are they going to do to him? I'm afraid for guys like Joe and all these other guys that are from the Independents or from TNA that they're going to get to and elevate themselves to a level, and then the WWE is going to cap them and be like, no, you're not our star. These are our stars. Why are the New Day still the champions? It's run its course. We've talked about it before. It's time for it to end. I'm a New Day guy. I love the New Day, but they don't need to be the champs anymore. It doesn't matter how many different t-shirts you come up with, your gimmick is still the same. Your color scheme's still the same. And it's fine. It's not a complaint. It's just, it's been 400 days now. And let's get into that. Because if the whole point of this is to break Demolition's record of 479 days, because of whatever legal nonsense is going on between the two of them, or if it's just to have a record broken, because we like to break records now. It's going to happen to Ric Flair's record. You know, Paige and Charlotte and Nikki Bella were throwing around the longest title reign record between the women's and the Divas champion, and now the women's champion and first evers, and they want to do all these milestone moments. You have to let these things happen generically. When you plan it, and it's almost like they're going, oh, you know what? Hey, creative, hello. Knock, knock, Mr. McMahon, sir. The New Day's almost at 400 days, sir. Nobody's gotten that close. Do you want to break another record? Do you want to do that, sir?
Go ahead and do it. Vince McMahon.
Come on. Is that what's going on down there? They just happened to stumble upon the fact that, holy shit, we're this close to Demolition's. Let's do this. Let's break it. We'll give it to somebody new. It'll be a historic moment. No, it won't. It will be trash. You know why it's trash? Because you cannot compare the two. It's apples and oranges. Demolition, yes, 2-man, 3-man team, whatever you want to remember them as. Demolition was a kick-ass tag team. And look at the caliber of teams that they had to go against over the course of a year and a half. They were up in there against teams like the Hart Foundation, teams like the British Bulldogs, the Powers of Pain. We had some of the greatest tag teams of all time that were competing back then. The Rockers. I mean, there was nothing better. Demolition versus the Hart Foundation did a 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWE Tag Team Championship, WWF Tag Team Championship at the time. These were epic confrontations. What has the New Day done? They had a nice outside fight film with the Wyatt family. Who have they beaten in their last 400 days that even matters, that has any clout, that's even an established tag team at all? You cannot compare the two. So for them to have that accolade, it's almost undeserved and unearned, because Demolition had to defeat the best of the best and held that title amongst the renaissance of tag teams that you had back in that day. Most of which, I'm so riled up right now, my memory goes a little fuzzy. Like, I can only remember the top 4 right now, but there were countless tag teams back then that these guys had to contend with that made that run way more meaningful than anything that the New Day could possibly have done in their last 401 days. So, the New Day come out with the win in this match. They jobbed out Gallows and Anderson again. If I were any of these other guys looking to come in from New Japan, I don't even know why they'd want to come in. Look at what they're doing to people. This is your fate. A guy like Kenny Omega, who's an outstanding talent, and he's doing some really cool things with the Bullet Club over there in New Japan. They're going to bring him over here, and they're going to waste him. They're going to destroy him. Guys like Jay Lethal are going to come in from Ring of Honor. And what are they going to do? They're going to throw them at us and destroy them. That's why I'm glad that Bobby Roode and Austin Aries and Eric Young, like, these guys are going to stay over there in NXT for a while. And let them stay there. And I hope Shinsuke stays there. I don't want Samoa Joe to even come up right now, because I feel like creative, especially if he goes to Raw, is just going to ruin these guys, because they have not proven that they know what they're doing with anybody. We're going to move on from that. We see a blip on the radar of the man, Triple H, but it's a pre-recorded segment from the conclusion of Clash of Champions where he was picking up his wife, Stephanie McMahon. Why we even had to see that, I don't know, because for the rest of the show, we would not see Triple H again. So, of course, we don't further that. Then we have them telling us about Seth Rollins' injury, which I knew the minute I seen it. I called it. I talked about it on the podcast yesterday. He's hurt. Now he's going to be gone. So now I'm going to not see Seth Rollins competing again. This is a travesty. These guys need to calm it down. The injuries are getting out of control. They need to stop flying all over the place and wrestle. Stay in the ring. Stay on the mat. Save those spots. Save those things for the epic matches. The way you should save Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell shouldn't be a yearly pay-per-view. It should be an epic event that you pull out of your pocket when you need to blow off a feud. When you need something to have finality. Think about it. Think about everything that we've seen as a Hell in a Cell before this new era. Guys like Triple H versus Cactus Jack. These matches were epic. They meant something to be in that cage. It wasn't just to keep somebody out. The Hell in a Cell happens every year. It's commonplace now. There's nothing special about it. And what are they going to do this year? Who are they going to throw in the cage this year? That's all we think about. And then we get the match. Oh, okay, it's going to be these two. There's nothing special about it. It happens all the time. Going a little off topic here. So, yeah, they confirm Seth Rollins is injured. He's going to be out for a little while. Then we get Bayley. Finally, going to have a singles match against somebody other than the other two. But who the hell is this broad? Anna Fields? Anna Fields. Who is this? Is this Mrs. Fields? The cookie lady? Because it certainly doesn't seem so. She looked about 50 pounds soaking wet. I felt like she was going to fly away anytime Bayley got her hands on her. Because she was so goddamn thin, she needs to eat about 1,000 muffins from Mrs. Fields' bakeries to even look like a human being. What the hell am I watching here? Anna Fields. Fuck off. Anna Fields. Bayley deserves much better than this. If you're going to give us Bayley, you should be giving her an opportunity to showcase her abilities. This is a woman who's a former NXT champion. She took Asuka to the limit. She took Nia Jax out in NXT. She got her revenge on Nia Jax. She's wrestled with Alexa Bliss, with Becky Lynch. She's wrestled amongst the best of the best in the women's division, and we know this. Bayley needs a match in 1 minute and 40 seconds. She needs to come out and beat Anna Fields. Come on. Come on. What is wrong with them over there?
Nope.
It doesn't make sense. I don't like the way this women's division's being booked. I don't like the way they're using Bayley. I don't like much of anything, as you could hear so far tonight. Bayley versus Anna Fields. Bayley gets the win. Surprise. Bayley to belly. Next, please. But next becomes more authority shit as we got Stephanie berating Mick Foley in the back again, making this man and the Raw general manager look like a 3-year-old with a Santa beard. Ridiculous. I'm almost done with the show at this point. And then we're at the halfway point. 9:30. Finally, something to get excited about. Cruiserweight action. But it's a tag match. I'm not going to gripe too much about that. I want to see more one-on-ones and less of this tag stuff. But it's fine because we get to showcase at least 4 talents. And we had Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander. That was a little bit of a tongue-tie to say. Rich Swann. It's not an easy flow. If you're getting into radio or podcasting, try saying Rich Swann without messing it up. Rich Swann. We see Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander. See, I almost messed it up again. Anyway, let's move past that. We see Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak. What a terrible name. Gulak. Sounds like some Russian slop plate that I have to be forced to eat. Here, eat your Gulak. You eat Gulak. No, I don't want Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak and Lince Dorado, the Golden Lynx, who I really did enjoy from the Cruiserweight Classic. He was another one of the talented guys that really caught my eye, not just because he has a funky-looking mask with teeth on it. And again, like I talked about a little bit yesterday, the ring changed to purple. And I don't understand how they do it. It can't be in the lighting, because the lighting would get on the competitors, and they're not purple. They have a little Cruiserweight logo in the middle. I mean, it has to be generated by an overhead light somehow, but when they're standing on top of it, they're standing on top of it. It's not moving, so it's not an adherable, sticker, because it comes, maybe it's a reusable sticker, comes on and off, but you don't see it kicking up. They're stepping right on it when they're doing shit in the corner. How is everything turning purple? Whatever. That's not the important part. The important part, as always, is the action, and the action in this match was great. I mean, they gave them about 13, 14 minutes, and we had some pretty good stuff. They were still a little reined in. We're not seeing a lot of the stuff that we're seeing there, but let me tell you, Cedric Alexander, with that lumbar check move that he does, holy shit! Holy shit, man. It's scary. It's scary to watch. I'm sure it's pretty safe. I mean, it looks painful, and I would not want to take it, but I hope he keeps it, because that's a no-nonsense move. He should be finishing every match with that. Like, once he hits that move in his match, it's done. The lumbar check, one of my new favorite finishers in the world of wrestling. But yeah, we had a little bit of an anticlimactic finish with a little bit of a weird kind of roll-up after a kick to the face, and Cedric and Rich Swann get the win. Nice showing for the Cruiserweights. Then we go to Sheamus and Cesaro versus in their tag match, and they put them up against two schnooks just like Bayley. These guys are so beyond that. What am I watching here? Huh? Somebody tell me what the hell I'm watching. These guys have gone through an all-out war for the last 2 months, and you want to come back at us and show us how they can beat two jerk-offs? Are you serious? Get the hell out of here. It's absolute nonsense. Guess who won? My stomach hurt from watching this shit. It physically made me ill to have to watch this match. Guess who won? Here's a hint. It wasn't the two jobbers. It wasn't the two no-name jerk-offs. Creative is truly clueless here. They do not know what they're doing. It is not possible that they planned this stuff and wrote this stuff months ago and are sticking with the plan. And I don't know if it has to do with the injuries, taking storylines out, or what it is, because they're not planned. There's no way any logical person with half a brain would sit down and read the script for this show 2 months ago and say, yes, let's get to that point. Let's get there.
Nope.
Absolutely not. There's no way. These shows, these Monday Night Raw shows, feel like the old Nitro after it started to go in the toilet. Nitro used to drag. Nitro used to feel like it took forever to be over, and that I'm watching this because I love wrestling, but this is just pure garbage. But you still sat there and flipped back and forth between Nitro and Raw. You liked Raw better, obviously, because that's who came out the winner at the end, and we all chose the WWE ultimately as the superior brand, as it's supposed to be. But it's almost as if the lack of real competition in the real world is causing them to become WCW. They think their shit doesn't stink, and that they could just keep throwing monkey crap at us, and that we're just going to keep swallowing it in. And I guess it's true, because here I sit, angry, but I'm going to watch again. So who's really the dummy here?
Dummy, yeah.
Is it me? I guess so, because I'm sitting here watching this crap. The rest of the show, really, there wasn't much to talk about. I mean, we had TJ Perkins hyped and interviewed, and when he talks, he annoys me. His voice annoys me, his music annoys me. I know he's a video gamer, but that old school 8-bit music, it's nostalgic, yes, but it's annoying. It just grates at me for some reason. I hope that maybe it'll grow on me, but I don't think so. It's one of those things that it's just like, ugh, I hate this song. But I love him as a wrestler, but I just want him to shut up, you know? This guy, I think, is over 30, and he sounds like an 8-year-old. But his whole little interview segment was saved by Brian Kendrick, who's invoking his rematch clause, and I look forward to seeing that next week. Then we had Charlotte come out to celebrate with her plastic Muppet friend, Miss Piggy, Dana Brooke. And Charlotte's just commending herself and gloating and talking about how everyone else sucks and she's great. Sasha comes out, challenges her for the title. Charlotte accepts, but says it's going to happen next week on Raw, not here in Cincinnati. All this segment did was prove that mic skills and charisma are not genetically transmitted the way wrestling talent seems to be in the Flair family. Charlotte is great in the ring, but she's terrible on the mic. She's hard to listen to. She grates at my nerves. You know, it's like she's trying too hard to be a Flair instead of just being herself and being a Flair. It's coming off as overly done, and her acting skills are not really on par with some of the best in the business, as her father was. Like, when Ric Flair took the mic, you were there, you were listened, you were drawn in. When Charlotte takes the mic, you get ready to listen, and you want to hear it, and then she opens her mouth, and you want her to go away. Or at least just to be quiet and wrestle, because that's what she's really good at. Anyway, this is just a bunch of tit-for-tat, no pun intended, and nothing of importance really happened. Sasha and Piggy end up rumbling. Big waste of time here, but, you know, at least it looks like they were starting to build up an angle, but they're giving us the match next week instead of at Hell in a Cell, which is what you should be building towards and keeping these girls apart until then, but we're not doing that because that would be the right thing to do. Then we had the Cruiserweight Championship match, which I was surprised to see. I was glad to finally see TJ Perkins welcome to Raw. And he was welcomed by Tony Nese, another one of my favorite guys from the Cruiserweight Classic. He was very impressive. This guy is really a beast, man. You could see in his body the way he moves. He's like a jaguar in there, man. He's sleek, and he pulls off some great moves, and he's got power, and he's got skill. And I'm really high on Tony Nese, and I'm hoping that he sticks around for a while. But all kidding aside, this match was too late in the show and was completely disrespected by the monkeys in the crowd. They were chanting a bunch of other things, you know, keeping their attention away from the match. Chants for CM Punk again. And this is the WWE's fault for not showcasing these guys or featuring them in storylines in any way leading up to these matches or even leading up to the debut of the Cruiserweight division on Raw. They just kept doing promo packages and nothing that really would garner interest or gain your attention. Anyway, TJP retains his title. TJ Perkins, still the Cruiserweight Champion, going to defend it next week against the Brian Kendrick. Then my eyes start to bleed because Ashton Kutcher and that other jerk-off from that 70s show, which is a show that I don't watch. I know a lot of you guys that listen to my show, watch the show, love the show, and might even be excited to see these two. But it's already made me not want to watch Raw next week, as they revealed that they are coming to confront Chris Jericho for putting them on his list and put him on blast for being not really friends with Kevin Owens. It's just, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Celebrity involvement in WWE is never really that good. It always ends up being boring. And I'm never, ever entertained by it that much. It's something that needs to go away and only be reserved for WrestleMania when I hate it there. But at least, you know, it's a worldwide stage and I understand the involvement of the celebrities. If you're trying to garner ratings, you're not going to garner it with has-been TV show people. It's not going to work. Anyway, this segment leads us to the highlight reel with Kevin Owens as the guest. They are in the ring together, running down Dean Ambrose for some reason, and then they're running down Seth Rollins, and then, of course, predictably, Rollins comes out, security comes out, Foley, Finley, everybody comes out to try to stop him. They actually get him to listen as Jericho and KO continue to just taunt him silly, and they are always gold on the mic, and they were very entertaining. But as I like to state, I don't want to just see them stand there and bullshit, even though Kevin Owens on the mic was very, very good last night. Very, very well done. I don't think they write for him. I think he speaks from his heart, and that's why it comes out the way it does. And when he gets riled up and he gets started, it's some of the best promos you're going to see in modern day wrestling. But this whole segment dragged really long, and it only ended with Enzo and Cass coming out and starting to go back and forth, doing their whole thing with them, which, again, I always enjoy. But predictably, it led to a match, and the match dragged out long because there's only so much these guys can do in a nonsensical tag team match for absolutely no reason, nothing on the line, nothing to gain for any of the competitors. It was simply just to have a main event and probably to give Enzo and Cass something to do because they were not on the pay-per-view last night. Again, nothing special here, just a decent match to end Raw. Jericho and Kevin Owens, Jericho, victorious in the end, as everybody knew they would be. And all in all, like we said at the start of this whole show, this Raw was last minute, felt overproduced, felt long and draggy, and was an equivalent to an Ambien. If you ever have trouble falling asleep, I recommend to put on last night's Monday Night Raw. That's going to do it. I don't want to rant on too much. All my views are pretty much in here. Let's wrap this show up. Let's try to wrap it up better than they wrapped up Monday Night Raw. I want you guys to make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It is much appreciated here. We have some great stuff in the works. The t-shirt has been designed. I'm waiting for the prototype to come. I'm going to show it to you as soon as we get our video up and running for the Nightmare Room, our weekly original YouTube show. We're also going to have a Wrestle Crate unboxing when I receive my Wrestle Crate, which I am now a member of. I'm not going to plug them too heavily because they don't give me nothing just yet, but I'm in the works of maybe being an official partner with them. Wrestle Crate is coming, and I'm going to unbox that for you again when the video feed is up and running. We're going to have a preview of my documentary on this week's Nightmare Room, but do not forget to tune in tomorrow for our SmackDown Live review. SmackDown has consistently been the better show, so I'm looking forward to a better show and hoping that they continue to build towards this month's No Mercy pay-per-view, the SmackDown brand's original pay-per-view for this month. I am Nick Nightmare. You guys are my Sledgeheads, part of the SledgeHammer Army. I love you guys so much, and thank you for supporting us. We will have much more stuff in the works for you guys, and keep tuning in to find out more right here on YouTube.com, where you find the SledgeHammer Wrestling Show each and every time. Thank you so much for Blue, the Snowball Microphone. I'm Nick Nightmare. Have a good one, guys.